In the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through the pros and the cons of working a residency where you know you're going to work the same place every single weekend for the same paycheck versus working a long-term gig where you're booking stuff 3, 4, 5, 6 months out, maybe a year. And there's pros and cons that go to both of them, and it really depends on what type of DJ you want to be. So strap in, listen to the next few minutes of this whole thing because I'm going to go through all of it. And it's coming from a place of I've done this before, so hopefully this helps you out. Really just skip some steps and trying to learn on your own. Learn through me and some of my mistakes that I've made. You're gonna get some right here in this video. All right, let's start off with a residency. Now, when you work a residency, that means you're gonna work at the same club every Saturday, and that's your spot. And they're gonna pay you X amount of dollars, that's what you agree upon, and then you know you're basically contracted to work every Saturday for however long you agree upon. So let's say that you're gonna do Saturdays at X club, and that's great because now you know, all right, like I got a residency at X club, and that's pretty sweet because like I know now every Saturday I'm working. But let's just talk numbers. I mean, they're probably going to pay you anywhere from $200 to $600, $700, probably more in the like $400 to $500 range, okay? And you're gonna work like somewhere around anywhere between 2 to 4 hour sets, okay? So if that's the sense like of what you're doing, every Saturday you're getting, let's say $500. That's awesome starting out. Like when you're starting out, that sounds great. 4 Saturdays in a month, I'm getting $2,000 every single month for 1 day a week. Now that sounds awesome, right? And I'm not saying that it isn't, but for me, that doesn't sound great. And we're going to talk about why here in a second. But the pros of it, well, it's steady work. You get a consistent place to practice. That's awesome. What I mean by that is like think about a comedian, like before they get to Netflix, they've done their set hundreds of times all over the country at all these little clubs and basements and bars and stuff, right? And so they're practicing and they're working and they constantly have a place to practice and work on their craft. And when you're working a consistent gig every single Saturday, where you have the comfort level of knowing like you're in the same booth, the same promoters, the people that hired you, the audience, you can kind of get a feel for what they expect. Man, you can get really good at what you're doing because you're practicing every single week in the same setting, and you can work on stuff throughout the week, like maybe you're working on a mix or something, and then you can go take it to your consistent practice spot. Your work actually becomes your practice spot. You have a place to go try new things out on new audiences every single week. That's awesome. You know, when you're doing like weddings and stuff, you kind of can't do that because they hired you specifically to do their vision and put it out there and bring it to life. So like you can't really take a lot of chances and do a lot of the stuff that you kind of like creatively built out of your own mind, you know, just for fun. And the other good thing is it's an easy way to build a local presence. If you're at the same club every Saturday, every weekend, you know, people are going to start seeing you and recognizing you like, oh, that DJ's here. Awesome. Or even better, let's go to that club because that DJ's there. Wow, that's even better. So, you know, it's a lot easier to build up a local presence. Plus, when somebody sees you out and you're just at a grocery store or whatever, and you're talking to the cashier and they're like, oh, you're a DJ? That's cool. Where can I see you? Like, are you ever around? You can be like, yeah, I'm actually, you know, on Saturdays, I'm over at Club X. I got a residency over there. I'd love to have you. You know, come on by. I'll get you in the VIP list. You can pull those kind of moves. And that's really kind of nice to do and fun to do. It's an easy way to like meet people and sort of build your name in a local scene. You definitely can't do that at private events because like you can't be inviting people there, you know, and people say, they'll ask me all the time, like, where can we see you? Have we seen you around in the city? It's like, nah, probably not, because I rarely work in public places. I'm always in private events. You probably haven't seen me out there. So that's definitely a plus from a residency. You can build your name up pretty quick. But with every pro, there comes a con. So let's go into the cons of the residency. Now, first off, you're locked into these days. This is the reason I'm on the camp of not liking a residency. You can probably already tell, but it's not for me. Now, I don't like it specifically because it locks me into Saturdays. Let's just back things up for a second. There's two types of people out there. And then, you know, you can be in between, but there's two extremes. And there's no right or wrong here. This is all about what is best for you, right? Because only you know that. But like, think about what kind of person you are. Do you want a 9 to 5 where you get the stability of knowing you get the same paycheck, the same coworkers, the same job, the same tasks, pretty much until you quit or get fired? Or are you okay with the instability of not knowing when your next paycheck is coming, but also the fact that it could be coming for way more if you apply yourself a little bit more? Like, that's the problem that I had with 9 to 5, was like, no matter how hard I work, I'm going to make X amount of dollars every 2 weeks, unless I get, convince somebody that I'm worth more. And then maybe like a year later, they'll give me like a little bump, and I'm supposed to feel like excited about that. F that, dude. I want to go and be able to set my own prices and work my own marketing and then like build on my own stuff. And if I work harder, I can actually make more. There's no limit to how much I can make on my own. There's a limit to how much I can make at a residency. I can only make how much they're going to pay me, and I can only work as many days as they're going to give me. And on top of that, it locks me into those days. So that's the first con, is that it kills all of your Saturdays from here on out. Like, if you take Saturdays at Club X, you're no longer working weddings. Like, your Saturdays are done now. So yes, $500 sounded great, but let's talk dollars. Like, my rate is $2,200 on a Saturday. So a deposit right there. As soon as you book with me, that's an $1,100 check. Boom, right here. Venmo, Zelle, whatever. Boom, $1,100. That's half of what I earn on a Saturday, right? So if I take the stability of, yeah, every Saturday I'm going to make $500 at Club X. Okay, but if I work for myself every Saturday, I could make $2,000 for Club Adam. And there's no, every Saturday, every day that you book a residency for, that's one day out of your week that you can no longer work weddings or anything else. And so you better, it's like, how much do you value your Saturday is really what it comes down to. A Saturday to me is worth $2,200 and more, because, I charge $500 more if you want me to play live music like piano or guitar at your wedding. I just booked a $2,700 wedding last week. If I was at a residency, that would have come in, I would have seen a request for $2,700, and I would have been kicking myself because there's no way I can take it because it's for a Saturday. So I wanted the freedom and the ability to book Saturdays when they come in, knowing that they might not come in. So, at the beginning, a residency is kind of nice because you don't have a reputation yet. But once you start getting some bookings, you might want to think about, like, man, I might want to drop a residency because there's only 2 days a week, 3 days a week that you can really book weddings and the high-end events. And that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And really, it's 2, and that's Friday, Saturday. Sunday, you might get some weddings, but the corporate events, that doesn't really happen a lot on Sundays. So, like, your Saturdays, if somebody wants to pay me $500 for a Saturday, I'd laugh. Like, not in like a jerking way, but in my head, I'd be like, oh yeah, no, thank you. Like, I know it sounds great because you're thinking, whoa, $500 every Saturday, but, that's only if you're expecting yourself to not be able to book any gigs on your own. If you think you got it and you can start working on this and follow the stuff that I'm teaching on this channel, maybe you book a consultation so I can help you out one-on-one at freedomdj.com. That's what I do. Then, like, maybe don't take that residency, because all you're doing is locking out your Saturdays or whatever day you choose, and then you can't earn anything more on that day until you quit. The other thing is, it's the same setting every night. Now, we just said that was a pro because you can constantly work on your equipment or on your stuff, and you can consistently practice. But the other side of that is that, like, you can get stale real quick. Like, again, with the comedian, if you're at the same basement telling the same jokes every night and it's the same crowd, I mean, you just kind of get into like a rhythm, and it's not a good rhythm because, I mean, once you go into a new gig, then all of a sudden you get like kind of like, oh, I haven't done this in a while, right? So the good thing about being at a different location every week instead of one residency is that I don't care where you put me, I'm always comfortable because I'm constantly in uncomfortable situations. Like, my comfort is discomfort. You know what I mean? Because I'm just never in the same place twice. So I'm just very used to, oh, what does this venue have for me? All right, cool. Oh, we're doing that? Whoa, okay, cool. Cocktail here, ceremony of football field over that way, and reception of football field this way. Let's go. I guess I'm bringing my one wheel. Like, I have things to manage now because I know how to treat. I've just been all around. To me, that's I like that. I like being able to be in a different setting every time, every night, every weekend. The other con is that it just doesn't pay well, and we've really covered that. But I mean, it pays you consistently, but it doesn't pay you as much. I'm not going to spend as much time there. That's simple. You get it. You're trading off lower pay for stability, and you're giving me more days. You're giving me 4 days out of one client, right? That one bar is going to be 4 days out of that month instead of like one couple, or giving you 1 day. Well, the difference is that one couple is going to pay you way more for that 1 day. All right, with the long-term bookings now, let's talk about the pros. What's a good thing about it? Well, obviously you can make more money. It's easier to forecast and plan. Now, I say this because instead of knowing that I work every Saturday, I have the ability to see when I'm working all the way up for a year. Like, I can see next June what I'm doing, and I can see that if I've already got, I actually just did this the other day. Like, if I go onto my calendar for 2024 and I start counting my weddings, how am I doing right now, halfway through 2023? And I can see I've already got like 25 weddings on the books for 2024. Okay, I'm good. I don't need to like be in freak out mode. Like, where's the money gonna come from in 2024? Like, I already can see I've already got contracts for 25 weddings on the books. Like, if I do nothing else, I'm pretty good for 2024. I'm going to double that. I'm probably going to do more than 50. But just to know that I've already got 25 on the books that far out is awesome. That is a different sense of stability. Now, you kind of get that with the residency, but you just have it in like perpetuity until you quit. And it's at the same gig making not as much money. So, Now, a lot of these are double-edged swords, like I've said, so you've got to figure out what's best for you, because just as it's nice to know what you've got a whole year out, some people might look at that and say, God, man, like, you're locked in for a whole year out. And that's true. That could be a con, where it's like, if I wanted to move, for example, I can't move for at least 18 months. Like, I have to plan that out at least 18 months out, because it's like, well, I'd have to start dwindling away and stop booking my weddings here, start booking my weddings in a new place, finish out all the weddings that I'm working here. And if I'm booked 18 months out here, that means I've got to be here for another 18 months before I can get out of there. But how do you do that? Because I'm stuck here, I can't build up in my new place, and it's really stressful. I've done it 2 different times, right? I tried to move my business out to LA, across the country, and I was splitting time. I had an apartment in Los Angeles. I was killing it. And I was like, kind of got my feet a little bit over my skis. And I was like, all right, I can handle this. I'm going to get an apartment in LA. I'll have an apartment in DC. And I'll split time on East Coast, West Coast. I racked up so many miles with Alaska Air. I had an apartment in right downtown Hollywood. Not downtown LA. I was in Hollywood, like in the middle of it, like right by the Chinese theater. And I was trying to build up my business out in LA, doing a lot of the things that I teach on this channel. But the reason I couldn't do it was because I always had one foot back here in DC, finishing out the stuff, and it was like the comfort zone. So if things weren't going well in LA and I wasn't booking anything, maybe I just put a little effort back into DC and I'd find a bride and groom and I'd book one wedding or something just for a quick $1,000 of a deposit. But now that gives me another wedding over here in DC, and that's just one more that I'm going to have to work and go back and forth. You see what it doesn't work. It's very difficult to change your life when you're doing the long-term bookings the way I do. So with a residency, you could just be like, hey man, I love it. I appreciate everything you've done for me, just like any other job. You give them 2 weeks, you give them a month, and then I'm out. I appreciate it. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go take a new place. And you can pretty much find a residency somewhere, wherever you go, hopefully. So that's the thing, man. Residencies are they're going to give you the security and the stability, whereas the long-term events are going to give you the ability to take your career as far as you want. And, it really just comes down to how much do you believe in yourself? How much do you want to bet on yourself? If you're the kind of person that just knows that you're going to kill it because you're not going to quit until you do, those types of people are out there. I'm one of those people. I know some of those people who are signing up for my consultation classes, and I am getting so humbled by the amount of effort that people are willing to put in to learn to do this the right way, and the success that we're seeing together. It's really fun, and I can see like those people exist. They're out there. So knowing that, Are you that type of person that's just gonna grind and work at it until you crack it? Because if so, you should probably stick to the long-term bookings. But, and I mean this with no disrespect, if you're not one of those people, and if you're just somebody who wants to do this kind of like a hobby, you really want to get your creative fix on, and you want to like do all the things for yourself because you enjoy the craft of DJing and it's not necessarily about the money, definitely get a residency. That's for you. That is 100% for you. And that's the last thing here. The one thing that residencies will allow you to, that the long-term gigs will just really not, is the ability to scratch your creative itch. I got to give it to them. I'm not big on residencies, but they've got me there. I am the kind of person that can have the same CD in my car all summer. When I was in high school, I was driving around with one CD all summer in the car. I could listen to all 13 tracks. Didn't matter which one. I always hear something new. I love music. So it didn't bother me. But some people, that would be like, oh my God, it sounds like a prison. Like, I need change. I need to feel a new vibe. Like, well, then that's a different type of person. And that's the reason that I like working at weddings and the places where I don't feel like I'm being oppressed artistically. Because I look at my artistic creativity as performing a good event for someone. Whereas if you're the DJ who's looking at like a musician where you're like a performer and you want to really scratch that creative itch, the long-term events aren't going to give you a lot of opportunities to do that. They're going to pay you a lot more because you're disciplined not to do that. You're disciplined to stay away from what you want to do and really focus on what they want for the night. That's the difference. It's as easy as that. It really just comes down to what's best for you. And if you know yourself, then you know your path. It's going to be easier to just follow the steps that are going to get you to the place you want to be, right? But if you don't know where you want to be, how are you going to get there? And that's what I'm here for. So enjoy this channel, get as much as you can out of it. I'm just pumping stuff out as much as I can and as much as they come to me because I feel like I have something to give and I really want you to be able to take what I've learned and to enjoy the freedom that I've been able to enjoy as well. So if you can, throw something in the comments. Let me know how this is affecting your life because it really drives me and moves me forward to keep doing this. And I'll see you on the next one. Good luck, friends.